Another day, another video. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are watching Bridgerton. This is episode 5 of season 2. Hopefully, guys, I've enjoyed the first 4 episodes, and it is my favourite episode, the last one of this season so far. Episode 4, they smashed it, mate. It was so good. That's where the season fully hooked me. It's brought me in, it's grabbed me, and I'm invested heavily, mate. Just before I started this introduction, I went back and watched the dance between Anthony and Kate. It was so good, and honestly, the tune in the background, Dancing on My Own from Robin, totally fits Kate right now, mate. You know, she's giving it my all, but I'm not the guy or girl you're taking home. I'll keep dancing on my own. Literally, it's so perfect. You know, she is falling heavily for Anthony, and he is falling for her. But you know what? He's saying consistently that he doesn't want love. He wants to be married to somebody who can obviously give him kids and give him a happy life, but he doesn't really want that connection. He doesn't want to get that deep because he's seen what's happened to his father, and it's obviously impacted him in that way massively. Now, obviously, they was dancing, and he ended up having a conversation with, with Kate, and she was saying, mate, if you do offer a hand in marriage to my sister and you do get married, then I will return back home. You know, I have no reason to stay here. My whole purpose was to come and find her a husband, and when I do that, I leave. He got mad. They stopped the dance, and obviously they left. She ended up going into his chambers. They ended up having a conversation. He was like, you know, why are you so convinced? You know, why are you trying to pit me and your sister against each other? She's like, because you vex me. And he's like, what do you think you do to me? And she's like, well, what do I do? And then he was getting closer and closer, mate. He was like, my heart, my head. He said something like, my head is telling me your sister, but my heart. And then like, he's getting dead close. And Daphne come in, mate. She caught them. And then she started arguing with him outside. You know, you caught me in the same situation last year with the Duke. And then he's like, well, it's different. And it's not different, mate. It's the same. And she's saying, look, mate, love always comes up. But it comes out in the end. It always comes out. And that was it, mate. It's like clarity. It was like he sobered up and he was like, I don't want love. I know who I'm picking. I'm picking Edwina. And that was it, mate. The last bit of the episode, you know, they're about to get in the, get in the carriage to ride off, and he comes running out. Can I speak to you? She's like, yeah. He's like, no, I don't want to speak to you, Kate. Boom, Edwina, will you marry me? I know, it's devastating for obviously Kate. It's well exciting for obviously us watching it. I don't know if you're fully invested in the Anthony and Kate storyline as I am. Didn't expect to be as invested as I am, got to admit. But I'm loving it. They've done a fantastic job, and I'm enjoying this season. So I can't wait for today's episode. And if you guys want to watch the full video, you can click in the description. It's totally free on the Patreon. Every time it's uploaded on the YouTube, there's a free episode on the Patreon. So if you're interested, go over there. But yeah, can't wait. Hopefully you guys enjoy episode 5 today. If you do, please smash the like. Really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, let's jump in to today's episode. I mean, she's obviously happy for her sister, but conflicted for herself.
Michelle.
There is no talk of a special license, I would hope.
Of course not, Your Majesty.
I believe a modest family affair would be most fitting.
I shall host the nuptials myself.
Imagine that, mate. The
That is
Queen
most
hosting your
generous,
wedding.
Most generous.
One could almost credit me myself with bringing about this most illustrious man.
It's like a fairy tale come true.
Nothing less for a true love match.
My apologies, Your Majesty.
Matrimony. For once that particular wager is placed, it cannot easily be undone. A fact which, I am sure, is met with both regret and sheer relief.
With all the hubbub about Prudence's engagement, my mamma has rather forgotten I exist. She is quite happy cousin Jack has ensured our family's future.
Had you thought to confide your plans, then I would not be considering dismissing the servants that I have just rehired.
Simply call off the wedding and allow me to set my cap at Miss Cowper again.
No, it is far too late for that, my lord.
You must be one of our new fellows.
Is it really so evident?
Conserve that youthful vigor. Soon you shall be just as jaded as the rest of us. One form is much like another. Do you not think?
He used to draw nude people in season 1, did he not?
There's still much to do.
Will Miss Edwina be coming to live with us?
Indeed. After the wedding, she shall be the lady of the house and responsible for you all.
May the Lord help her. I've been occupied at the academy.
What about Miss Edwina's sister?
What about her?
Will she come to live with us too?
Oh, I do hope so. It will be a boon to have another intelligent woman in the house.
Another? You're overcounting.
I am attending a lecture this afternoon. Flower arranging. Penelope's mamma. It's forcing her to go, and you've wanted me to find more ladylike pursuits.
How long have you cared about flower arranging?
I'm an open-minded woman. I can care about many things.
Did I tell you we will be married by the Archbishop himself?
Several times.
We must find you a dress too.
Oh, I have plenty of dresses.
This one must be special. After all, this wedding is as much your triumph as mine. And when the Viscount and I are blessed with children, you shall be their favourite aunt. Think of us all together.
Yeah, that would be so hard. Innit, mate? That'd be well.
Edwina's betrothal is so special.
I received your latest. It's been a busy week, has it not?
Indeed.
Perhaps Lady Whistledown will report that I have been entrusted with our Diamond's wedding ensemble.
She's seeing it as a business opportunity. Just a name drop here and there will help her keep it relevant.
Miss Sharma.
Lord Bridgerton and his guest are waiting.
I see that. Thank you.
This is the jeweller. We're here to have Miss Edwina's betrothal ring altered to fit.
Is that cake?
Might I offer you some refreshment, Mr.
Brooks, only if you insist. I'd be churlish to refuse.
It is fine weather we're having, Miss Sharma, is it not?
You wish to speak to me of the weather?
Is there another topic of conversation that would be more appropriate?
Need I remind you, sir, if anyone other than your sister discovered us in the library that night, then we, too, would be obliged to wed.
Nothing happened in that library.
Do you and your sister happen to share gloves?
Yes, on occasion.
I knew it. I can
It's in her fingers. Perfect fit. They're touching contact now, look. They're getting... This is the most intimate they've been.
Bridgerton? They came to alter the ring.
Mr. Brooks insisted.
Kate, are you...
Yes, almost. Just another... There.
Lord and Lady Sheffield sent word they are in London. I shall invite them to the engagement dinner tomorrow. I'm sure it will be a most joyous reunion after all these years.
Lady Danbury, would you be so kind as to chaperone my daughter?
Miss Sharma and I would be glad of the fresh air.
Oh, I should really stay with Mama.
You will escort me.
Okay, so that's interesting because this is the closest or the most intimate that they've kind of been. Yes, they've been like near her when she was shooting the gun and he's had kind of his hand on the chest like when he was panicking. And last episode he was getting close, but I don't know, I feel like holding her hand and like touching her fingers, that's probably the closest they've been in like some sort of intimacy way. So it's interesting. Obviously she tried the ring on, nearly got stuck. My ring on my finger is actually stuck. I physically can't get this off. Like, I've tried for months. This does not come off. So I could feel her pain, mate. The pressure was on her trying to get it off then. Also, Lady Danbury, I know that she's helping the diamond and she could kind of see it as, you know, I don't know, like a tick in a box that, again, last season and this season, she's kind of helped get the biggest wedding of the year. But I kind of feel like deep down, she's kind of like rooting for Kate and she enjoys, she likes her. And I don't know if she feels like this wedding shouldn't go ahead. Nobody can say that. You can't physically say that. But I feel like that's how she's feeling inside.
How could you invite the Sheffields to... when you know full well the pain my mother has suffered after their rejection of her?
Indeed, which is why I shall not answer their impoliteness with my own.
They might feel...
as if you contrived a match for your own concealed ends and might call off the wedding. To wonder if you might not secretly rejoice with the Viscount to break the engagement. And in the eyes of society, and might I add the Queen of England herself, they are as good as wed. Only a very great scandal would prevent this marriage from proceeding now.
Lady Danbury.
Mr. Dorset.
What a pleasure to see you here today. Miss Sharma, perhaps you would be so kind as to accompany me on a turnaround.
What a handsome couple they make. Mr. Dorset and my sister. I noticed that he was quite smidgen with her the last time they met. Perhaps he will convince her to stay in England after all.
Anthony.
Absolutely.
The new Lord Featherington seems an interesting fellow.
He has ruby mines in America. They are flourishing, I hear.
Well, perhaps I should introduce myself. After all, everyone else is finding some purpose to their lives.
Where is your sister? Not seen her out today.
She mentioned something about flower arranging with you.
Indeed, I am meeting her later.
That was a good save, wasn't it, from her then? Literally, fast thinking on your feet.
Now, if I may be permitted to continue, I should like to propose to this assembly the radical idea that it is not best for women to rely for their education on what falls to them by chance from their husbands and brothers.
You're a long way from Mayfair for writings that are merely serviceable.
Luckily for me, there is a thrilling invention called a carriage that may convey a lady from one place to another. It is a marvel, to be sure.
I called this guy being a suitor. I did, mate. You can go back and look at it.
Pleased to meet you, Miss Eloise.
She needs somebody as educated and well interested into like society and, you know, equality as she is.
There's a river just outside the home where I grew up. On hot days, I would sneak away to soak my feet. The turtles and I became quite good friends.
Sounds idyllic.
Which is why I'm counting the days until I may return home.
I had assumed you would remain in England.
My mother and Edwina will remain here. I shall journey back alone.
I've long thought to return to India myself, since there is much to be learned from there.
If your travels do lead you there, then I would be most happy to show you the places I know.
What of your prowess crossed the Atlantic? You got the better of McKellen in just 2 rounds, is that not so? I've been known to plant a few faces in the ring myself. But not up to your abilities, I'm sure.
Lord Featherington, a word. You're trying to ruin us all.
Not when you're already making such fine work of it yourself.
Just a quick one. How did he make the money here in this age? Like, what did he do? I've actually never even thought of this. Now, obviously, just quick thinking about him who's come in. He said that he's got ruby mines in the US. Okay, that makes sense. That's probably where... Well, he hasn't. But if he did, that would make sense. That's where his income's coming from. But where's everyone else getting their money from? Like, what do the Bridgertons do to be so prestigious? How have they got that big, massive house? What is it that the family provides the society? Do you know what I mean? Like, where does everybody get the wealth from? I know that it's... I don't know. Are we supposed to just assume it and take it? It might not make a massive impact on the story at all. It just makes a little bit of the story be with the Featheringtons, because they consistently got no money, and now I'm thinking, where does everybody else get theirs from? Why can't she do something to get some more? I don't know, because you don't see them work. None of them work. So like, it's just popped in my head. It's interesting.
I see you are smiling, Didi. See the amusements London has to offer.
Allow me, Miss Sharma.
Lord Bridgerton.
Again, man, look, it's a finger touching. Oh!
Come now, it is not proper to stare.
Future husband, though. She stares herself.
Penelope, what are you doing here?
I thought we were to walk, as we usually do.
My apologies, I'd quite forgotten.
I shall see you tomorrow then.
Of course.
Chancey wasn't doing anything against Whistledown, was she? But she's thinking that she is.
Mr. Brooks here is just taking a look at some jewellery for me. It is a fine piece, is it not?
Indeed.
If it is of great value, I shall have to take more care.
Well, I would require my proper tools for a definitive valuation, but I would say you should take very great care indeed. It is rare to see stones this fine.
If they're good enough to fool that nibbling owl of a man, then we may well make it through the season yet.
That's true.
I do hope you know what you're playing at.
Oh, that's true, mate. She's trying to sell some counterfeits.
Well, there is no need to dismiss any staff after all, Mrs. Varley.
Declare, that's rather good.
I'm skilled at more than simply standing naked.
You work as a model as a way of learning from the lecture.
Smart,
Care to
mate.
take a
That
turn?
is smart, isn't it?
It is harder than it looks.
How long must I stay like this?
That
Innit?
depends. What I really need is a study of the male form.
It reminds me of the courtyard, the palace where we used to live. So calming. Lady Danbury has made it quite clear that it is necessary for all of us to attend.
When was the last time you saw them?
The night your dear father asked for my hand in marriage, I believe. Your father and I were drawn together. It is a very powerful thing. You meet someone and feel that you know them. In a way, unlike any other. I had always hoped that you and Edwina would be spared the choice between affluence and love, and now you shall.
I will be finished in a moment, Mother. We should not be late.
I have been watching you all week. I told myself I would support your choice, but I must admit I am finding it quite difficult to continue to stay silent.
You've been anything but silent.
This is your betrothal. Marrying a woman for whom you clearly hold no great tenderness or love. You should be excited to wed Miss Edwina, but for all I have seen, you act as if you are approaching the gallows instead. It happens all the time with young ladies, swept up in the dizziness of receiving a proposal before the reality of marriage becomes clear. If Miss Edwina were to call off the engagement, no one would find fault with her.
My feelings are of no concern. What matters is my responsibility, which has always been to wed.
It would break my heart to see you spend the rest of your life in regret. I dare say it would break your father's heart, too.
Do you think the Sheffields will like this dress? My stomach is in a knot. I'm so excited to meet them.
You may spare me the instruction, Lady Danbury. I know I am to be on my best behaviour.
Independence. No mere consolation. Indeed, many would think it the better prize. Our guests are waiting.
I'm intrigued to see this though.
Ah, Lord and Lady Sheffield, it has been too long.
I am most happy to make your acquaintance.
We have been waiting so many years to meet you.
Attention.
Shall we go through to dinner? Oh, yes, come with me, child.
It must be well hard for them, innit? Imagine being in them situations. Like, I can't even speak because my family's all accepting of anyone, any gender, any race, age, whatever's me. You know, everybody's... To me, my family, the way everyone's equal, mate. Not bothered wherever you're from in the world. But it's, like, interesting, isn't it? So, like, because Kate's obviously got a different family to them, so to speak, if you would just put it as simple as that, they don't really accept her. They don't really like her. Do you know what I mean? When really, you know... She is their family. I don't think family is all about being where you're born from. I actually don't. To me, a family is the people that like upbring you, and they're the ones that teach you morals and how to live. For example, somebody who adopts somebody, whether they're 4 or 5 year old when they adopt them, and you know they give them the love and the support and the help and the family life, and you know and they're there for them all the time, mate. That's family, regardless of where you was born. You know, people have parents and they're awful to them, and they go somewhere new and they get given all this love and their life's so much better. That's family. Do you know what I mean? So these people, classic. You know, they want their own blood being born, being wed into a high prestige family where they don't really like accept the decision, obviously that the mum made, get with a man who didn't have that wealth and also already had a child. So I mean, as far as they're concerned, they're not even bothered about Kate, and they're just sticking their nose up as well to their own daughter, which is mad.
Do you shoot? We have a fine stock of birds, and you're always welcome.
Thank you for the invitation. I do enjoy shooting.
As does Kate. The two of them almost bagged a stag on our trip to the country.
Unusual. Do they teach young ladies to shoot in India?
Only the fortunate ones.
Her Majesty is kind to be so forgiving after everything that has happened. Even after our daughter so callously rejected the match we had found for her.
He's fuming down there, look at her.
What? A mere clerk, was he? And with a child from previous marriage with God knows who.
My mother has a name.
She simply sailed away from all of us with that man, robbing us of our grandchild.
Being cast out by the only family I had ever known, I was heartbroken indeed. But in time I came to see that in your cruelty, you did us all a great service. Cast me out, what you did was set me free.
You speak of scorning riches, and yet you have come crawling back to snatch at our fortune.
Lady Danbury is right.
Perhaps we should...
nothing from you.
Oh, you may not, but your daughter certainly does.
Yo, this woman's a proper bitch.
Another generation to pollute the Sheffield name, did you?
I can only think that you have been exiled from good society because of your deficient manners rather than for any other sin. Since the moment you arrived, you have failed to show the proper respect for the Sharma family, and I will not stand for it. You may leave at once.
You cannot be serious.
Please be so kind as to send for Lord and Lady Sheffield's carriage. They can wait outside.
If you think you shall inherit a single sovereign now, you are sorely mistaken.
She had a stick up her ass, that woman, didn't she? You could tell she was fuming at the bottom of that table. Right, question. If you know some information but don't disclose it, is that a lie? Because to me, that is not a lie. A lie is when somebody asks you a question and you know the answer, but you give the wrong answer or a false bit of information. So, for example, Kate never lied to her sister because her sister never asked about the marriage. You know what I mean? Like, that's my take on a lie anyway. A lie is not telling the truth when somebody asks you a question. A lie is not knowing information but not feeling free to tell everybody. So I mean, I bet there's plenty of information that I know that other people don't know, and then when they do find out, they can't say, well, you lied to me. It's like, well, I didn't lie to you, did I? You never asked me the information, so I never told you. There's a difference. There's, if you asked me and I told you something false, that's lying. But if you'd never asked me, never come up in conversation, it's not lying. It's just that I know something you don't.
You must know Edwina is innocent in all of this. She had no idea. Coming to England, finding her match, I only wished for the best for her. You cannot be angry at her.
No, I'm not. It is clear she was as much in the dark as I was about your schemes, and it is best to call off this doomed engagement before it is the cause of
Wow. Hey, take it.
Why are you suggesting this?
Do you think that there is a corner of this earth that you could travel to far away enough? My father raised me to act with honor, but that honor is hanging by a thread that grows more precarious with every moment I spend in your presence. The object of all my desire. Night and day, I dream of you.
Not ask for this.
The teased her again, man, no kiss.
Wanting you, dreaming of you.
I like how he's expressed his feelings towards her, though. That's what we like to see. Now it's time. It's like the ball's in your court.
It is not as if you arranged to meet Cousin Jack in that orangery, did you? We should merely be happy we still have a cook and a lady's maid each, yes, Mamma?
Lord Cowper, what business did he have with you?
He wishes to invest in the mines. Several of them do. Bored gentlemen with too much time.
Oh, they can do a fake business with the Reavers.
And how are they to know the difference? Are they to board a ship to the Americas? Every pound that they offer, our fortunes will be restored. Prudence shall indeed have a fine wedding, and I shall never have to suffer the disdain of the ton again.
Ever since the Viscount has been courting me, I have sensed you are not being entirely truthful. You did not trust me enough to tell me what was really going on.
I am truly sorry, Bon, for keeping both you and Mamma in the dark.
I am not a little girl anymore, Kate. If Lord Bridgerton does not wish to end our engagement, then the Sheffield fortune would not matter.
This should not be your burden.
What burden would it be to marry the person I love? I want nothing more than to be his wife.
Do not tell me you've travelled at this ungodly hour to offer more corrections of my writing.
It was the only time I could leave without being seen. And on the contrary, I've come to ask for your discernment.
Duty. More than laws or faith. I have often thought it the bond
I'm loving
that holds
Eloise,
our
mate.
fragile society together. But what happens when such duty is in conflict with the heart's true desire? The only question is, will the parties in question heed my warning? Or is it already too late to turn back to duty and away from desire?
Have you decided what you will do?
And see my way to ending things. It is the only way to ensure that the two of us can be rid of this impossible situation.
You cannot do that.
Miss Sharma,
You cannot break my sister's heart. I could not live with myself if I robbed her of her happiness and the future she deserves.
That's well hard.
You have been against this union from the start.
I was wrong. I will not be the cause of you losing your honor. You must marry my sister. You must marry her as soon as you can, because this feeling that plagues us so, it will pass.
Very well.
I feel well bad for her, like, literally. She's just in... You can understand where she's coming from. She's absolutely in love, but she doesn't want to ruin her sister's life at the same time. How solid is that, mate? Literally, it's your happiness or hers. That was the best out that he was going to get, wasn't it, mate? Let's be honest, that was the best out that they could have got. Like, what better opportunity will present itself than this one here? You know, you had them family members coming, absolutely ruining the thing. You had an easy get out of... Well, it's not get out of jail because he's not really locked up. But, I mean, like, you know, he rushed into it. He actually desires Kate, but he obviously chose Edwina. And... you know, before he got too far into it, he had a chance to be able to pull himself back and end things and maybe pursue Kate. Who knows? Well, it didn't really seem like he had that plan. You know, he was like, look, mate, I'll stop courting your sister. We'll break off the engagement and then we'll pretend that, like, me and you, we've never met. You can go back to how it was and I'll go back to how it was. Well, no, because then she's and her family are in a worse situation than he was before. Do you know what I mean? Like, they might as well, like, there's no benefit to them. She might as well stay a little bit hurt inside wanting Anthony, because she might want that anyway. So, like, if he breaks up with Edwina, she'll still fancy Anthony regardless of wherever she goes, and she can't have him. So why doesn't she stay with Anthony, Edwina, and then Kate just still not have him? Do you know what I mean? So, like, in her head, she was like, well, no, that makes no sense. Literally, like, you can't break up with my sister. You can't break her heart because of me. You know, I don't want to be the person that's ruining her life, because none of them would get anything out of it. Neither Kate wouldn't, and Edwina wouldn't. So you might as well stay with her. I totally get that. But I also get from Edwina's side as well that, mate, she's in a solid predicament. I know that Anthony's in a hard one. He's got to choose which female that he wants to be with. But in terms of, that's his choice, you know. He physically has to make that choice himself. He's the one that put himself out there looking for a wife, and now he's the one that's got, so to speak, an offer and made, you know, a proposal. Where Kate, she's just a person that's going around who's fell in love with a boy, and she's, you know, sadly, obviously for her, that boy is a person that is courting a sister who's actually not in love with her sister, and that is where it's hard for her, because she's in love with him, he's marrying her. They both, I would say, love each other, but she can't destroy her family and her sister. I get it, and I feel for her, but it is good. I actually don't know who he's going to be with, to be honest. You know, like, I still think that he's going to marry Edwina. I actually really do. Him and Kate are getting too close. And no, do you know what I mean? They've not kissed, and they've been so close so many times. I just feel like they've had their out now. It was right here. We're on episode 5. Do you know what I mean? We've got 6, 7, 8 done. And this is the opportunity to pull the trigger on the marriage if he was going to do that, and they haven't taken it. So I don't know, man. I actually don't know. Unless he stands up at the wedding saying, I object, you know. Or if he says, I, Ross, take the Rachel. I don't know, mate. Honestly, I absolutely don't know. And that's going to wrap up episode 5 of season 2 of Bridgerton. So, mate, we had an out. It didn't get taken. Now it looks like the wedding is full steam ahead. You know, the dowry, well, what would you say, lie that they called it, and your information has now been revealed, and you know, they didn't really need it, the Bridgertons. He could have used it as if to say, well, I suppose you're not going to give me a dowry, and that is his out, but they don't need it. You know, he's got a massive mansion, he's an absolute balling, they're rich as anything, he can supply money for all of their family to live happily ever after, so to speak. And you know, the thing is, Edwina really likes him, and that is where that's why Kate's struggling. I feel like if Edwina didn't really care and she was just marrying him for the sake of his money, she may say something and step in and say, look, mate, I know you don't like it, but I really do. You know, I fell for him. You know, if you wanted money, there's plenty of other people out there. You could be happy with somebody else and I can be happy. But no, mate, she's stated that she's in love and she's struggling now with herself. You know, she's devastated, heartbroken that his wedding might not go on. She's devastated, heartbroken that she might, you know, well, first of all, break her sister's heart, and second of all, she can't have her own heart fulfilled. And it's crazy. Now, let's be honest, right? Their family sat down at a dinner table, and all she wanted is, they woke up on the side of the bed and chose chaos, mate, didn't they? Literally, they just come with an absolute stick up their ass, and all they wanted to do is throw shade at the family. Straight away, she was absolutely fuming that she picked a rich man that her mum didn't choose, and you could have had 14 acres and all that. Who cares, mate? Look at somebody like Eloise. She's currently, you know, interested in a lad that's just working in a rough part of town, who's working at like a paper shop. She's loving it, you know, she's interested, and money's not everything, you know what I'm saying? Like possessions and wealth. And the thing is, people can get wealth. Someone can win the lottery. Obviously, they might not have the lottery back in the day, but someone can work hard and become wealthy. Who's born, you know, you can go from rags to riches. That is the quote. You can be born with no money, work hard, and become this rich, famous person, or whatever you want to be in life. So the fact is, yes, she could have married somebody who had all of this stuff, but does she like him? No, mate. I would much rather like marry somebody that I'm actually in love with and happy with. Happiness is not having all these amazing things, you know. Happiness is having, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but being content, which this show loves, with the stuff that makes you happy. Whether it's a small thing, whether it's a small house, it could be a small apartment, a one-bedder. You could be so much more happier than a person living in a mansion, because the people that you're living with are the people that don't fulfill your life, don't fulfill your enjoyment. And that's the thing. She chose love, and I respect it. She's saying you got 2 grandkids, mate, not 1. And then she started disrespecting her dad and all that. It was madness, mate. I like how Anthony stood up for both of them. Yes, obviously, he probably was talking a bit about Kate because he's kind of slagging her off more than Edwina, but he stuck up for both the women and the mum, saying that she raised 2 beautiful girls, and it's them. They're the people they're the reason that they're shone from society. You know, the mother, her choice in lover, that is what didn't bring the bad name to the family. They did for casting out theirs. So I like it. He stuck up for him. That's what a family man does. You know, obviously he's had this conversation with Kate, saying that, you know, even the end of the earth would be too close to him, pretty much. You know, like, she'd still be there. All she'd be doing is wanting her. But like I say, he's had his out, and he's well, actually, he's not chosen not to. You know, he was going to end the wedding. You have to give, like, you know, Anthony some credit. He was going to take that, and but she can't do it. She can't break his sister's heart, and she can't obviously get what she wants either. So it's going to be really interesting now. You know, she hasn't got love. She's got an interest off Anthony's mate, but she hasn't got love. It looks like one of his brothers is actually getting with somebody from his university / college that he's been accepted to, which is decent. And like I say, it looks like Eloise is getting closer to this lad. Now, Pen, she is thinking that Eloise is probably hunting down Lady Whistledown, and maybe she is doing, maybe in the back of her mind that is something that Eloise is doing, but right now I feel like she's just interested in what's going on in that part of town, the society, you know, the club wherever they went to, and that lad, and it's nothing to do with Pen or anything. So again, I'm interested to see where that storyline goes, because the mum wants to full on push to find, you know, a husband, and she said last episode, I know I'm a disappointment to you, I'm nothing like Daphne, etc. But mate, she's found her own happiness right here, so I'm fully behind it, and I can't wait to see how that one goes. So that's where we currently are. Mad episode. We've got loads of emotions flying all over the place, and I'm excited to see obviously what happens with Kate and what happens with Edwina, and if this marriage is going to take place at the palace with the Queen hosting me. It's going to be exciting. So hopefully guys do enjoy today's episode, and if you did, please smash the like, really helps out. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, I will catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.